DM Hotline. How may I help you?
Hi. I'm running a Avatar: The Last Airbender campaign, and we've been having. Sorry, I have the TV view on in the background. Let me lower that volume.
Okay.
So I've been running it in person. I've got, been doing a lot of practical effects. I had an encounter that involved like a wall mirror in the battle map to the movements of one player is being mirrored across the battle map. I've been having very physical movements for bending styles. Um, and all in all, I've been keeping it very, entertaining physically. My issue is that since I've graduated college, it's a college, D&D club, and I don't exactly have the free time to be able to like drive down 2 hours, like once a week or even like once every 2 or 3 weeks to uh, run this campaign in person. It looks like it would probably be easier to run it online. My issue is that I know I have some executive dysfunction,
Okay.
and uh, I'm worried that I'm going to lose my players' interest if I move it online because it's not going to be, as physically, involved. It's not going to be, as much of a camaraderie setting as it would be in person. So how can I uh, work this so that it still is interesting without me having to like kill myself through stress with this?
Absolutely. Have you spoken to your players about playing online? Are they really in a position where of an opinion that they would rather have no D&D at all than D&D online?
Um, I it's come up in passing about like, oh, we might have to move this online, but we haven't had anything more than that conversation wise.
Okay.
That definitely does have to happen though.
Okay. But you don't need any advice on that conversation. You're ready for that conversation. You want
Yeah,
advice on how to make online interesting. So
yeah.
you're running an Avatar Last Airbender campaign. The benefits of playing online. There are some benefits to playing online versus playing in person. Like you said, you're used to playing in person where you have like you can physically do the airbending techniques, and you have these
hmm
really cool battle maps set up, these 3D battle maps. So with online, what I would suggest for you is sound. So what I like to do is sound effects. I have a soundboard where I have a number of different sound effects. That's really hard to do in person. You have to get like your phone and get a soundboard. With the computer, it's super easy. You just get like a little soundboard. You can play sound effects through Discord. That would be one way. Another great way. You brought up a really good question that could be used for this. If you're running an
hmm
avatar campaign, you can easily pull GIFs offline or online or GIFs online of avatar movements and abilities. You can actually have visual representations of the fire kick, right? You could pull that image off online and use that, and you could have NPCs that do that. You could use NPCs from the show. I do that a lot. I grab a lot of images from video games and TV shows, anime, etc., and then use that in
Yeah.
online. So I would definitely do that.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been working on including D&D fantasy races as other benders. Like one of the things off the top of my head, I have Aarakocra airbenders delivering mail across the entire continents and nations because with the addition of flying and airbending, they can get across places quicker. We've also got, airbenders that are basically weightless on their feet, and they can basically door dash from one restaurant to one person's house, and they're just walking around able to do that. Um, so I enjoy keeping that interesting, and I'm worried that I lose that creative input if I, am not like physically in the same room with the characters, and I can't like see the players' like expressions as well as I would otherwise. Uh,
well, if it's an option, you could have a video call where you can actually
all
see
right,
their faces. If they have webcams, you could set that up. It'd be a great way to do it.
true.
I run exclusively online. I was running in person, and while I do like like I said, there's benefits to or there's strengths and weaknesses to both. Another great thing about online is I feel like online you can have a faster pace, which means you can move things around more quickly. For example, if you have this elaborate battle map set up for your players to enjoy, and they want to move to a different scene, I mean, you can have like a big dungeon and you can reveal rooms, but if they move to like the town, you're gonna have to physically move things around. Like here's the town, here's the dungeon, etc. But with online, you can set up like Roll20, you can set up pages and you can shift between pages easily. So you have a faster you can transition between large scenes faster between overland travel. So actually, that's actually something I'd like to I want to ask. When the players are traveling and you have a random encounter on the road, what does that look like? Do you have like a whole separate?
Yeah, so I've done a little bit of this online because sometimes we have, I call them pink cloud sessions where a PC is missing, so they go poof into the pink cloud dimension, and we have like an uh, out of story session. They go from place to place in an airship, so we have battles on the airship. They'll encounter things in the air. I think one of the ones I had was they had a bunch of rocks to fight, and I had them doing that on there. And even in person, we'd open up Roll20 so I could, position people easier on that battle map.
Even in person, you're using Roll20?
Just because I don't have a battle map of like an airship per se, and I can pop one into Roll20 easier.
There you
But
go.
it's like a yeah.
Yeah, so it sounds like they've already. I mean, they're already somewhat familiar then, if you've been using Roll20 before. But see, you just described exactly. So I want you to focus on that aspect. Being able to move between those maps is your golden ticket. It's just something that you can't do in person easily. The more elaborate your map is in person, the harder it is, especially if it's a 3D map. The harder it is to remove that from the table and put the new one on. Online, it's just like you just shift, just move a page over.
All right.
So yeah, so they may notice a faster pace if they move between scenes. So that would be a way to keep engaged. And lots of art. Art is so readily available that you could just easily, you're running an avatar game. Now you may not be able to use the unique races, like you're not going to have your Aarakocra or airbenders, but you can pull for specific, especially in combat, for specific effects that are happening, like a fire kick. You can pull images online of that, and then just make it more visual.
All right. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. I hadn't thought about doing that before. That would be very helpful. Yeah.
Nice. Got anything else for me?
Yeah, just real quick. I in that same campaign, I have a custom mechanic where you can spend inspiration to enter a pseudo avatar state. For just balance issues, I feel like one of the problems with it's based off of Monk, the different classes, but it's not. It uses key. One of the things I'm working with is, is it better to replenish their key to say their attacks don't cost key, or just to double the available key they have at hand?
All right, can you rephrase that question? So you have a mechanic where they can spend inspiration to change forms.
And it's basically like a pseudo avatar state. No one is the avatar, but they're pieces of the avatar.
Okay.
So they can spend inspiration to enter like a resonance state where they're resonating with all their past lives. I'm trying to find a way mechanically to express that with their key points by either saying none of their abilities that require key cost key, or they refill their key, or they double their key. I'm not super sure of what's the best way to run that mechanically, assuming that it's similar to how a monk uses key points, but you can spend them to cast sort of spells that are bending styles.
Okay. Are each of them a different bender?
Yeah, elementally, yes. the way the system works, there's two kinds of benders. There's benders, which are more martial, and samsari, which are more bending focused. Uh, One of them is a samsari, and the rest are benders. Benders don't get as much ki as samsari do, and samsari can do things like reduce ki costs for themselves.
Okay. There are a
Yeah.
couple of examples that you could pull from subclasses. I'm struggling to remember. I think the Undead Warlock has a form change that you could pull from. You could just reflavor that to make it monk
Ooh,
related.
okay.
Help me out here, chat. There's got to be. There's a subclass where you activate it and your form literally change into something else. Cannot for the
That's
life.
Spores Druid, right?
Spore Druid has something like that. Actually, Wild Shape is a really good. Wild Shape's a really good one. So instead of animals, elementals or some kind of elemental powers, that's actually not a bad idea.
Ooh, that might be a good call. Yeah.
Shadow Monk, Polymorph, Shadow Sorcerer. Yeah. So I would just look at the subclasses, especially classes that aren't even represented. You could just pull. Astral Arms is a good one. Yeah. So
Yeah.
look for a class. So the great thing. So a great way to reward, if you want to reward specific subclass features. If a class is not represented in the party, so for example, Artificer, you can pull actually Sorcerer's a really good one because Sorcerer has some really interesting stuff, like meta magic. If you don't have a sorcerer represented in the party, then you don't have to worry about stepping on a sorcerer's toes by pulling their powers and their subclass features and giving them out as rewards. Like, okay, your wizard, here's a wizard here, you can have meta magic. The sorcerer, if you don't have a sorcerer in the party, you don't have to worry about the sorcerer looking at them like, oh, come on, man, that's my thing. So I would pull from subclasses or classes and subclasses, especially ones that aren't represented in the party.
Okay, that's actually a really good idea because we are very much not. No one's playing like an actual class. They're all playing like very much like burst damage classes that were from this homebrew. Yeah, thank you. That's really helpful. And if you'd like, I can pop the PDF in the Discord somewhere, and I have an Awakened Doggos player companion too, if you'd like that.
Sure, throw it in the homebrew.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, man. This has been super helpful.
Yeah, you take it easy, bud.